Hello, I'm Sam Perez. By day, I am a mild-mannered actuary, and by night, I spend a lot of time thinking far too much about anime, video games, and other such nerdy topics. Today, I'm going to be talking about Borderlands 2 by Gearbox Software. The first Borderlands game is known for its colorful art style, its irreverent toilet humor, and essentially inventing the looter-shooter genre of games. It's hard to understate the influence of this series because its mechanics and tropes are on full display in current blockbuster series like Destiny and The Division, and the series itself is still alive and kicking, with Borderlands 3 coming out just last year. And while later games in the series have improved on mechanics and polish since Borderlands 2, this particular entry is always going to have a special place in my heart. It's still an excellent game mechanically, and I think it's also a singularly wonderful achievement of video game storytelling. The influence of the gameplay itself has been discussed to death in other media, so I'm not going to spend too much time on the details there. But, needless to say, the game's a masterpiece of the pre-Games-as-Service era of Diablo-like RPGs. Borderlands 2 mastered the steady stream of tiny dopamine hits you get as you open a hallway full of tiny chests, or check the stats of a randomly generated gun, or watch a downed boss explode into a fireworks display of different rarities of loot after a long coordinated raid battle. The wide range of classes also felt distinct, and just all of them changed the way you moved around the world or interacted with your teammates in really tangible ways that also matched the personality of the characters that they're based on in really fun ways. Whether you're the magical siren that can shoot elemental damage or even play dedicated support, or the quirky inventor that fights with a robot companion, or the commando who eschews all of the fancy gimmicks and just feels like a Call of Duty hero. And then the randomly generated guns end up with personalities of their own as the weight, effects, and synergies with your character build change. I distinctly remember the first time I out-leveled one of my favorite legendary guns. I felt a tangible feeling of sadness as I put this gun away in the storage locker to pass on for a future build. And so just the excellent execution of this Diablo with guns genre is why I happily spent 400 hours on this game. But it's not why I've spent maybe that many more thinking about this game. So the first reason that Borderlands 2 has a permanent place in my brain is just for the memories it gave me with friends and loved ones. I had a character save file for every possible combination of friends that could have been online at a given time, and I have wonderful memories of playing this game and spending time online with my friends. A lot of this is because of the really cool design of Sanctuary, the game's hub town. So in between missions, the layout and features of this town created this atmosphere where we would all spread out and we'd be individually testing our guns on the practice dummy, respecking our characters, playing the slot machines, or just climbing up on the tall roofs of the buildings while chatting with each other over the headset about life and whatever we had going on. And then after I moved halfway across the country for an internship, Borderlands 2 still had a steady stream of DLC coming out, and that provided activity for me and my wife, who was my fiance at the time. It gave us something to do and something to connect over while we had 1,300 miles separating us. So just for that reason, Borderlands 2 and its locations and characters and atmosphere will just always produce a warm, happy feeling in me, because it makes me reflect on those memories. But the final reason that this game is going to live rent-free in my head forever is the writing. And this might come as a surprise to those of you who associate this property with just internet memes and raunchy puns, but hear me out. The game takes place on the planet of Pandora, which is an inhospitable planet filled with hostile monsters and extreme environments in which, aside from the occasional stable settlement, the planet is in a perpetual Mad Max-like state of just might makes right anarchy. The events of the prior game unleash stores of a new element called Iridium, which leads to a megacorp named Hyperion colonizing and mining the planet to extract the resources for the weapons that they manufacture. And so while this plot's not particularly deep or complex, the picture it paints of just a megalomaniacal capitalist ruining the lives and environments of an impoverished but diverse population to increase their profits at any cost is a stark and surprisingly deftly executed picture. The citizens of Pandora who have managed to eke out some kind of living often represent a surprisingly diverse array of races, sexualities, and physical abilities, notwithstanding the Mad Max-style psycho imagery, which is a thing. But with these characters, the writing enables them to participate in the comedy, even often in ways that would not be possible if the character were a cishet, white, able-bodied dude. but manages to never make them the butt of the joke in a mean-spirited way, instead focusing on comedy from their environment or punching up at the people and companies that are causing their plight. And this cast is troubled, it's violent, it's ridiculous, but it has just a charm to it, and there are so many quotes from this game that are part of my lexicon even now. And then all of these characters are starkly contrasted by the antagonist, Handsome Jack. Jack is the CEO of Hyperion and has fully convinced himself that the genocidal campaign he's undertaking is bringing peace, order, and civilization to this savage planet of bandits, which is his favorite term for literally every inhabitant of this planet. And he believes that this justifies the level of cruelty that he operates in this quest. And the impact of this character is immense and is owed mostly to the incredible performance of Damian Clark, who portrays this character in a way that is both just gut-bustingly hilarious and over the top, while simultaneously being deeply, deeply disturbing in the deluded self-righteousness of the cruelty that he operates with. The end result of all of this is this hilarious comedy that subversively celebrates the beauty and joy of its diverse communities overcoming hardships, but also carries a deep, tangible anger at the systems and prejudices and powerful people groups that are perpetuating the inequality and preventing human flourishing on this planet. And just the honesty and rage underneath such a strong layer of irreverence and silliness is something that I have not seen equaled before or since this game. So even if Borderlands 3 has spoiled you in a way that makes it impossible to live without ledge climbing, because the movement in Borderlands 3 is so good. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so much better than 2. But even with that, Borderlands 2 is worth spending time with, just to experience this singular combination of comedy, compassion, and biting satire that the writer Anthony Birch accomplished. And then all of that is on top of an expertly polished looter shooter that will delight anyone who's ever been brought joy by watching a small number turn into a big number. And all of this is without even getting into the DLC stories, which include Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep, which I believe is one of the finest pieces of video game writing that has ever been produced, but we could be here all day if I got into those. Also, the internet memes are funny and y'all should get over yourself. Happy gaming.